got a great, very timely conversation today. Is anybody interested in AI?
Is anybody interested in Formula One? Okay, good.
All right, we're going to get into that a little bit. But first, I want to hear like a little background on Perplexity. The company has evolved so much. How do you describe Perplexity today?
Perplexity is meant to be a useful assistant to help you answer anything. The best way to think about Perplexity is it should be the most accurate AI for answering the most useful questions and helps smart people push the frontiers of everything they're doing every day.
And I'll just wave my arms around and say, I'm a super fan of the product. I use it all the time. It helps so much in research. I just find the inference very fast. Like, it's a combination of fast inference and fast web search, which is very useful when you're a researcher. So thank you.
Thank you.
Over to you.
Well, that was the connection to F1. Ben and I have been spending some time researching F1 for various purposes, and we were very excited to learn we're going to chat with you, Aravind, today, because you guys are a sponsor of a partner of Lewis Hamilton.
Yep.
Tell us, since we're here at the Sports Super Bowl Innovation Summit, how did you think about doing that?
Yeah, so the way it came about is at some point around like last year, like beginning of last year, I was getting pretty interested in usage of Perplexity in sports. And it's not, if you actually study how our users are using it in the context of like what gets classified as a sports query, it's not often to check the score. Of course, that's bare minimum, that's expected, but people are often asking questions to understand the sport itself. And one of the most technical sports, quite hard to understand. There is a certain amount of time you need to spend to actually enjoy the sport, like truly understand it, is Formula One. Of course, it attracts so many people because of the Netflix show and the hospitality and like all the glamour, but there are like a lot of technical fans who truly want to understand all the details that goes behind the car, the drivers, the conditions that day, and every single team is very engineering driven. So not only did we realize we get a lot of questions around Formula One or many other sports, we also realized people in Formula One teams, the engineers, they were all like already Perplexity users. Like one of our business team people went to one of the races to just meet some teams, and they're all like, yeah, we use Perplexity. And wait, damn, really? What are you doing? Yeah, we ask it all the time, like about weather conditions, what's going to happen, what kind of strategy for the tires should we adopt, and all these things. So I was really surprised and decided we should probably sponsor a partner with somebody here. And we're a small company, so we can't just throw a lot of cash. So you have to be clever, and that's part of what Perplexity represents, to always identify an edge that other people are not looking into. So we thought, why not go after an individual than a team? And who's the greatest of all time? And the GOATs in general are always pushing the frontiers. They're always asking questions. Jensen uses it all the time. Stanley Druckenmiller uses it all the time. So we wanted to identify someone who would be a similar kind of figure in the sports world. And we respected the fact that Lewis was willing to push the boundaries, get out of his comfort zone, go to an Italian team and try to revive Ferrari again.
An Italian team.
An Italian team.
Sure.
Yeah.
And yeah, not that big a team. It's just one of the teams. But that really resonated with us, and he was excited to work with us. And he's a big time Perplexity user. Like, he uses it so much. I got to meet him, and all his queries are so long. He would show me his library, and the prompts are like so long. And I asked, how do you type these long prompts? It's impossible. And he's like, no, I don't type it, I just dictate it. He's just sitting there on his phone and dictating all these really long prompts. And he's always asking, what's the model I should use right now, or like, what is div research, what is this, what is that, and it's fun to explain all these things to him. And then he goes to meetings with Ferrari, saying, "Hey, Perplexity thinks this is what we should do." So it's having its impact. Yeah.
That's awesome.
You were telling me you were the first AI company to sponsor anything in F1. That's
Yeah.
obviously very different than the world now, where it seems like every team and the league has AI sponsorship in some way.
Yeah. We have a lot of copiers, not just on that, but in general the core product. So definitely not surprised, but happy. Yeah.
Is this your first major sports partnership?
I think so. I mean, I think we also partnered with Federer and his team for Labor Cup, but it happened around the same time.
Yeah, cool. I mean, the natural association I have is speed. Is that part of
Yeah,
what you wanted the
100%.
associations
Yeah,
to be?
speed and accuracy. That's basically what people identify Perplexity with. And obviously, when you're racing at that speed, you want to take the best correct decisions. Like it's life-threatening not to do so. So speed, accuracy, strategy, research, technical depth, these are all the things that symbolize Formula One. So we wanted to be part of it. And the audience that comes and watches Formula One games, the fans who are attracted to the sport, they're all always asking questions. They're always interested in understanding, oh, this penalty was undeserved, like, that shouldn't have happened. Oh, like, the strategy of the tires was wrong for this weather. Like, they're always, like, questioning the decisions made by the teams. So it's a really good fit for AI.
Have you found, let's move away from Formula One, we'll probably come back to it, but I always notice now when I'm watching NFL broadcasts, I do have a second screen experience. And sometimes it's looking at Wikipedia, sometimes looking at roster, sometimes it's looking at ESPN. But a lot of times I'm asking Perplexity questions about what's happening at the game and the player's background. Do you see sports second screen engagement as a sort of material use case in vertical when you look at the traffic?
Absolutely. That was one of the reasons we partnered with Labor Cup, the tournament conducted by Roger Federer and his team, where they were actually, it's a unique format where the coaches can guide the players live during the match, which is not allowed in regular tournaments. So people were interested in seeing Perplexity as an AI partner, like a knowledge partner that helps you think about like serves, like, on an average, where would you serve to Alcaraz? Would you serve more on the forehand or the backhand? Obviously, you're going to lose the point most likely either way, but at least you want to give yourself better odds, right? So these are the kind of things that it's very fun to have a second screen. Second screen is very useful in two ways. One is it can help you bring new fans to a sport. Let me give you an example. I took my wife with me to the US Open final last year, and she hadn't watched a tennis game ever until then. So I have to explain to her, what is 15 love, 30 love? Why is it 15, 30, but then 40? What is deuce? What is this? Like, there's like so many questions you have when you watch for the first time. And if you get it, you're going to watch a lot more. It's in like consumer product metrics way of thinking about it, retention is very high if you actually understand a sport. So the second screen is going to maximize retention of a new user. And once you've got a fan and who's consistently watching, it helps them to appreciate what actually goes behind it even more. That sometimes they end up picking up a sport. Like, for example, I'm going to buy like a simulator for Formula One myself, and because I really like, I really want to know at least a proxy metric to like what it means to actually sit in the car and race at that speed. I got a hot lap from Ferrari when I went to Austin, so it feels amazing. Like, you kind of get you get a completely new experience once you appreciate all the technical details. And same thing with tennis. Like, start playing it more. And obviously, when I watch on TV, I'm like, oh, like, how can you miss this forehand? It's so easy. And then I can't even hit a forehand properly. So that's.
Can I just recognize the ridiculousness of the statement of like, well, I sponsored the F1 team, which actually got me into F1. Like, that's not a scalable user acquisition strategy.
Well, yeah, I mean, you don't have to sponsor a team to get into a sport. I'm doing it because we have a company doing that, but I think it's really nice. And also, like, in general, the average sports fan is just like, "Oh, I just like this player, I just like this team, or I just like this athlete." You can go beyond that to just truly being a fan of the sport, which is likely to keep you attached to the sport for many more years, even after your favorite player retires or your favorite team is not doing that well, which always happens.
So, question for you is what we were talking about backstage. The first round of AI was chatbots that you interact with, you get some text back, and then you use that text to inform all the regular, normal stuff you're doing on your computer or moving about your life.
Yeah.
It seems like we've evolved meaningfully beyond that now. I'm curious how you would explain sort of the different eras that we've been in over the last 4 or 5 years and where you think the future goes.
Yeah, so I think the aspect of just getting back to you quickly is the synchronous paradigm. You put in a prompt and you expect a response pretty much instantaneously. That's the interaction paradigm, the interface today. The future is going to move more towards the asynchronous paradigm, where it's like you're on Slack, you put in a prompt or a task to your coworker or colleague, and you don't expect them to instantly finish it. Maybe some acknowledgement is nice, so that you don't feel like you're staring at a blank thing, but you give them some time to do it, and you're not actually watching them do it. And when they're finished, or either when they're stuck, they come back to you with some clarifying questions, and you unblock them. But they're just doing it autonomously on their own, and you can delegate 7 or 8 different tasks at once in parallel, and they're all being done asynchronously. So that's you can call it agents, assistant. It doesn't matter what you call it. The paradigm shift is more towards parallel background asynchronous workers. So that is something you can only build if you have the foundations right. You need obviously a good model. You need a good harness to take the reasoning capabilities of that model, orchestrate it with the right set of tools, and you need a browser, you need a search engine, you need all these connectors that pull in personal context, payments. Like, there's a lot of orchestration to do. But whoever does that really well at scale and manage the costs well, because they're all going to be very expensive,
Yep.
is going to build something that truly changes the entire workforce and like how we operate on a daily basis. So that's the future.
Yeah, there's a lot of talk of sort of computer use as this
Yeah.
AI vertical.
Yeah,
where-
you have to build a new kind of computer.
and the idea is that your AI can click buttons for you and navigate websites and check out. And how would you characterize the current state of people actually using AI to do all the things on a computer that they used to do themselves manually?
I think they're using it already a lot, but largely more in the summarization paradigm. People are uploading files and asking questions, or like identifying some mistakes, quickly like asking questions about day-to-day things, helping them write emails, say something better. All that usage is not going to go away. It's going to only grow, but there's going to be a new paradigm of usage that hasn't even been widespread yet, except among developers.
Yep.
So imagine that for everybody. It's a different way of thinking about it is when computers were a thing, personal computers were a thing, it was a hobbyist tool. No one would imagine we would all have a computer in our pocket right now. Like it almost feels like I know how to use a computer is such a stupid thing to say right now. I think it's going to be the same thing with how I know how to use agents. Right now, developers know that, and they kind of are cooler than those who don't know how to do that. But it's going to be something that's not going to be an edge for you. Everyone's going to be able to use it, and your only edge is going to be how good you are at asking the right thing to do. So that's the curiosity aspect of it, which is why we've always said curiosity is the only human trait that matters as AI start doing whatever we do as reliably.
What as we were things change so fast in this space. We did a similar event
In
2 months ago, maybe.
Yeah, in Vegas.
And we weren't even thinking about any of this. What do you think are the key pieces that Perplexity needs to have built?
Yeah.
When we had this chat 2 months ago, it was like, well, models. Like, do you need your own model, or do you have a? But now, like, yeah. What are the
Yeah.
pieces that you need?
So just like how any human being, if you're doing something digitally, you won't be able to do it without access to the internet most of the time, almost all the time. And you won't be able to do it without access to a browser, without a file system, uh, and without being able to write any piece of code and execute it in a secure sandbox. Like, these are needed for almost anything a human is able to do today digitally. And Perplexity has all these tools we built ourselves. Like, we started off with building search. We have an ever-growing index that's particularly being built for AI assistance. And we built a browser, and we built it with the mindset that the browser needs to be agentic natively. So these are all tools.
What does that mean?
What it means is, even if there is a world where the front-end interface of the browser disappears, you need the back-end, the infrastructure, for an agent to go take actions on the browser. So the internet will largely be used by agents more than humans.
It's kind of a crazy thought.
Yeah.
And like over time, maybe just to concretize what you're saying, like right now, what an agent would do is it would literally load up a browser and it would type in the flight that I want, and it would scroll and it would look at them and it would ask me some questions and it would do some clicking and then it would type in my credit card. It's like using the web interface that's been built for humans now as a stopgap, but over time, the agent will just communicate directly with code on the airline side or on Expedia's side.
And it should be able to do it in whatever fashion it needs to. If the web admin exposes all this information in a different manner from the interface the graphical user interface that you as a human are used to, it should be able to do that. But if the web is supposed to be used exactly in the same way humans are using, it should still be able to do that. And so that flexibility is something you can uniquely build if you own the infrastructure of the browser. And so search and browser and file system, these three ingredients, along with a good agentic harness and whatever is the frontier state-of-the-art model at that moment in time, is going to help you build the ultimate new computer. And that's essentially our goal. Like that is the future. That doesn't mean the behavior of asking questions every day is going to change. I think we're only going to get more curious and ask a lot of interesting questions about a lot of things. So I see a world where we're just firing a bunch of tasks, where the boring work's being done by the AIs for us, and we get to engage in interesting work where we're asking a bunch of interesting questions to think about what to work on. That's my idea of like a utopian future.
When you say harness for models or whatever frontier models are going to be in the future, tell us what that is.
I think a simple way to explain that is orchestration. If you give it a certain task, it has access to a bunch of tools, and how it breaks down the task into subtasks and delegates to subagents. And each subagent has its own abstracted set of tools, which could be a browser, search engine, or proprietary data API, whatever, payments. And these are all coordinated by a main orchestrator. And it keeps retrying if it runs into any obstacles, asks for help. It could ask another subagent for help, or it could ask a human for help. It doesn't matter. So that whole system is the harness. And as we are motivated to build a model-agnostic harness, just like how we build a model-agnostic chat or answer engine. And that way we can keep slotting in whatever is the frontier intelligence at any moment in time. But the intelligence itself is less important than actually orchestrating it and having it continually learn from your feedback. That's the key missing part, and that's what we need to crack, and that's what we're building.
Do you need to make the model yourself in order to take that feedback loop of user data and work it back in to make?
I used to think so.
Yeah.
But the way continual learning is beginning to take shape right now is it's all happening through file systems, where updates are dumped into a certain file, or your past conversations are all in like a bunch of folders and directories. And all these are being accessed by
an AI's memory about you.
Correct. And all these are being accessed through BAHC tools. like grep or cat or ls, and like these are all like basic Unix commands. But it's interesting how once you do this, you can manage the context window of the model much more efficiently than trying to put it all into the prompt or doing retrieval augmented generation. So it's very interesting to think about the world where almost everything can be abstracted out to a bunch of file systems and hierarchies.
That's a pretty profound thing to say, that you don't actually need to be the model maker to make high leverage use of all the user feedback, all the user data generated from interacting with AI to make your whole system smarter, that you can actually use an off-the-shelf model and have a feedback loop.
Yes, and our hope is we build an agentic harness that can be retrofitted to any model pretty fast. In fact, I would think the agent itself can do its update to fit itself for another model. At this point, like there are like a lot of statements about X% of the code is being written by the AI and all that. The lines of code doesn't even matter. Like you should expect that number to get to 100%. I'm talking literally about like agents literally orchestrating what tasks to work on and like going and doing it, or like the tasks you give to your own coworkers. Imagine you could ping a bot that is an AI too, literally the same task. Yep. And if you give it the same level of enterprise access, all the connectors, all the tools, all the file system permissions, of course, start something less risky. You don't want it to go and delete everything. But as long as you have the sufficient guardrails and access controls, it'll create a very interesting workforce where you feel suddenly like everyone has a multiplier.
When you've watched what happened over the last couple of weeks with Maltbook, is this like a little test cube of like what's going to happen in the real world soon? And maybe for folks who don't know, explain what happened with Maltbook.
Yeah, so Maltbook was like a social network where a bunch of people had their own agents interacting there among each other. I actually thought that was...
It's like Facebook for, agents.
Yeah, Facebook for agents.
Yeah.
But actually more like Reddit, I would say, the interface with Reddit. So,
but still a bunch of posts and collaboration happening agent to agent.
Yeah. It's not very new. Like, just think about it. Almost all LinkedIn comments today are like AIs. It's just it's being posted by humans, but they're writing it with some. You can actually like this is almost guaranteed. Like I can guarantee that like the speed at which I post a tweet and get like 10 replies, that's impossible that someone actually applied brain power to reply to that. So it's already true that our existing social networks are filled with like bots or bot tokens. Yep. And so you could already make the argument that most of the tokens that are generated on a daily basis on Reddit or LinkedIn or Twitter is already AI. And we got used to it. So in my opinion, Maltbook is not like that interesting. And also like it's been prompted by the humans clearly to be funny. In fact, like if you look at that, like the top Maltbook username in terms of Karma, like Karma was like some fake Trump account. So it has the same kind of characteristics that regular social networks have. I think what's more interesting is the OpenClaw, or like it used to be called Claude with the W bot. I think that's interesting because it takes a lot of effort to set it up. But imagine that friction went away, and you could literally have something that has hybrid local server-side compute and just does stuff for you while you're sitting and watching a Netflix show. I think that could be really cool, right? So like everyone wants work-life balance. I think the answer to work-life balance isn't to work hard until you turn 40 and retire. I think the answer to work-life balance is actually taking as much mundane work away from you as possible, automate it, and you only get to do interesting stuff, and you get to do it from your phone while doing something else.
Well, on that utopian and somewhat terrifying note, let's give Aravind a hand.
Yeah, thanks, Aravind.